Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nerdcast. It is Devin, broadcasting, not as always, live from an undisclosed location in Kyoto, Japan. How's everybody doing out there? It is a hot one out here today. It's a hot one this entire time I've been in Japan, but particularly in Kyoto. I guess because it's in a valley, all the heat just kind of gets trapped. Um, oh man, I am still recovering. Lauren is recovering. She is I think I kind of okay. So we kind of oh man, it's just been there's been a lot. There's been a lot that's been kind of dealing with here. So I'll just give I'll give as brief a recap as I can. I'm just gonna be hanging out on this stream for a little while. It's probably not gonna be a very long stream. I've got some walking I need to do to get to the Nintendo store here in Kyoto uh, and do a little bit of shopping. There we go. Do a little bit of shopping here in Kyoto while I'm here. I've got a couple more days. It's always kind of a bummer the way that it works out vacation wise because it's always the same. In that is my thing. I can't tell how my mix is coming in. It's always the same in that you know, when I do a big travel somewhere, the first few days that I'm there, I have a lot of anxiety, and I end up, wishing I hadn't come, and then it's like, oh man, I can't wait to go home and be back in my bed, etc., etc. But then, of course, towards the end of the trip, it's the opposite. It's like, damn, this is over already. I wish I could stay here a little longer. Like this went by maybe a little too fast. I'm starting to get those feelings right now, where it's like I think tomorrow's my last, yeah, tomorrow's my last day here, and on Thursday, or on Friday rather, I have a pretty epic commute. I got to get back on the Shinkansen from Kyoto to Tokyo, and then in Tokyo Station, which is kind of notorious for being confusing. I'm already confused by a lot of the streets and especially the train stations here in general. And Lauren has been a godsend. She's been awesome helping me out, get through stations and whatnot. But I'm not going to have her help at Tokyo Station. I have to figure that out on my own. So once I get off the Shinkansen, I'm going to have to transfer to a train that'll take me to Haneda. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I'll just get a taxi cab instead. But I've got at least an hour and a half on the Shinkansen to get to Tokyo. I'll have some kind of a commute either by train or by taxi to get to Haneda. Then I've got a 9.5 hour flight to San Francisco, and then a 4 hour flight from San Francisco to Austin. And I'm not looking forward to it. The flight here was brutal. The flight here, my whole commute to this place, unfortunately, it was so bad that it kind of painted my perception of the trip itself from the beginning. It kind of prevented me from fully enjoying the first couple of days here. Um, and it kind of is a bummer when I think about it because, there was a lot to take in. There was a lot to really enjoy. I wish I had more energy that first night so I could enjoy even more of Tokyo before I came down here to Kyoto. But I was just so beat down mentally, physically, everything. Like I just didn't have the juice to do it that night, and ended up kind of burning at least half a day. Well, it wasn't quite half a day. I guess a fourth of a day in my first night in Tokyo. And that bummed me out. Thinking back about it now kind of bums me out. But everything else since has been fantastic. I've got so many videos I want to try, and I've been working on it. I started writing it here in Japan. I want to work on doing a vlog for my experience here. Um, I want to work on doing a vlog for it. I've got a ton of media. Talking with Lulu about possibly having her edit it. I don't know how it's going to come together, but I'm going to try to put that together. This has been a pretty interesting trip in a lot of ways. Um, Tokyo was a unique experience because I'd never been to a city like that before. It's like New York City or what. Actually, found out talking to Lauren about it. There are more people who live, and I didn't know this. I guess maybe this is something I should have known. Maybe it's a little bit more common knowledge. I don't know what it is, but there's more people living in Tokyo than there are in New York City. And you feel it. Like there's a ton of people in that city, and they're all pressed and rushing, and it's an intense city. And I've never experienced anything like that before. Um, I wasn't quite prepared. I feel like if I had gone 20 years ago, I probably would have appreciated that a bit more. I probably would have liked being in it, but now I was just over it pretty quickly. There's a lot of great things about it though. Like I liked Ikebukuro, I liked Shinjuku, what I've explored of Shinjuku and Harajuku. There's a lot of really cool stuff there, and I enjoyed my time there. And I would have liked to maybe have spent an extra day, but I was eager to get to Kyoto because I just had this feeling that Kyoto was more my vibe, more my speed, and since I've been here, it has been exactly that. Kyoto is amazing. I love this place. Like it is awesome. Um, I mean, there's still a lot of people, of course, but it just feels much more slower, slower paced. There's feels like there's more space. Um, Walking down the street, the city streets are all laid out like a grid, so that makes it a whole lot easier for me to figure out where I'm going and how to get there, on foot. So like, and all of that is great. The first thing I noted when I stepped off of the train here, stepped out of the train station, is Kyoto just reminded me a lot of Okinawa, um, both in terms of just feeling a lot more, for lack of a better word, rural than Tokyo, and also just how goddamn hot it is, and all the shrines, all the shrine architecture and whatnot. There was a lot of that on Okinawa too, not quite in the same architectural style as it is here, but just a lot of those sort of temple kind of things all over the place. It felt a lot like Okinawa. It did feel, and this is my first time coming back to Japan since 1996, so it's been a time. And when I was in Japan, when I was in Tokyo rather, I didn't get the feel. Like I liked it and I enjoyed it, and I was glad to be there, but I didn't quite get the feel of, returning home. Like, oh, I've come back. Like this feels comfortable. It feels familiar. Like there were bits and pieces here and there that did, but for the most part, it was a new experience. Kyoto feels like I'm coming back to, what I was used to or familiar with as a kid, and that's been a pretty remarkable feeling to feel. It's been pretty awesome. I've been enjoying myself here. I've only been here one day, and that day was a brutal day. It was yesterday. Okay, so um, hold on a second. I'm getting a message. I have to keep in mind the time differences between here and Texas too. Like it's 12. It's noon here, 12 in the afternoon, but in Austin it's 10 p.m. Justin messaged me. Okay, wishing me a happy birthday. Um, what the hell's going on here? How'd I get this all mixed up? Oh, I see. Also, this hotel room is awesome compared to what I was staying in. And I don't mean to make it sound like I'm trashing the first place. I actually enjoyed the neighborhood of the first place a lot. The place I was staying at in Tokyo, in Ikebukuro, that place was awesome. Like it was a shoebox, and the bathroom was almost unusable for me. But as far as the bed was big and comfortable. That's really all I needed it to be. Um, and it was in a really cute neighborhood that let me walk to pretty much anywhere nearby, including that station. So it was a cool experience to be there, to like be living in the heart, well, close to the heart of downtown Tokyo. I enjoyed it. I like that. But this place is a this. I'm staying in like an actual hotel room right now, and it's pretty rad. I love having the space. The bed is just as big, and my big worry about booking Airbnbs and whatnot here is that I was just gonna get like a bed that I could barely fit on. Like a little shoebox bed that I'm gonna be dangling my 6'5" frame off of all sides of. But so far, the two beds that I've slept in have been plenty big enough for me. So that's a huge, huge win. That's a big bonus. Um, this bathroom has one of those fancy Toto electron. I guess electronic toilet. Electric toilet doesn't sound right, but it's got like a touchpad toilet thing with a bidet that has a number of different like jet stream settings. I had never actually. Oh, fabric and air. I'm also dealing with like allergies or something. Oh, I can smell that. Oh, that does smell good. I had never actually used a bidet before, so that was an interesting experience to say the least. That toilet's pretty awesome. I kind of want one in my house now. I wonder how much those cost actually. I can't imagine they're cheap. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait a second. Hold on. I've got to find the right one here. Because these are this one says it's $21,000. Oh my god. Hold on a second. This is fucking crazy. Are these really that expensive? Oh my god. So much for trying to get one of these things for my house. I guess this is probably like the most affordable. Can I sort by price? Yeah. Let's see what their cheapest option is. Okay, that's just a normal ass toilet. Okay. I can't even, I don't even know what model that one is in there, but it can't be inexpensive. Like, I guess if I'm gonna get one of these fancy ass toilets, I may as well like throw it on a credit card and get like a really nice one. Wall hung. No, that one there isn't wall hung. I wouldn't want that anyways. I'm I'm far too heavy for a wall hung toilet. I want like maybe I should, let me do the opposite then. Since I'm looking for something fairly specific, let me do price high to low. What a ridiculous thing to be engaged in right now. At a certain point, I'm gonna leave and go on my expedition. I'm kind of okay. I got sidetracked a little, and I didn't put any of my I didn't put any of the media that I took yesterday. What's happening here? I didn't put that on my drive yet. I have my Japan drive here with all of the pictures and videos that I've been taking. I've got up to day 3. I got to put yesterday. Yesterday was day 4. Today's day 5. I got to put yesterday's up here. But this was the last night in Ikebukuro, where I saw some weird ass boy band playing at a mall there. I like how like literally everybody watching are all like middle school girls, and then there's me. Look at how much I tower over them. Like I'm towering over these. Like if any of these dudes just like if their eyes just caught this little section up here and noticed that a giant black dude was amongst this sea of tiny Japanese middle school girls watching them, I have to wonder what went through their heads, what would go through their heads at that moment. But yeah, that was Ikebukuro. That was Sunshine City, where I did some shopping there. Toto does not want me to figure out the secrets of their fancy toilets. Is this page just not going to load for me anymore? Alright, I guess that's it for me investigating that thing. Regardless, the one in there is pretty spectacular, and I really want one for my house now. Even if it's just the one, I just want one in my house. It seems like it'd be a pretty weighty investment, though. Oh. Oh, man. I keep getting sidetracked. I feel like I started telling some stories. Oh, I was going to talk about yesterday. Okay, we woke up in Tokyo, checked out of my Airbnb. I met Lauren at Ikebukuro Station at around 9... Maybe around 9:30. 9:30 a.m. So we make a dash over towards the ticket counter to purchase to purchase a what's going on here? Weird. So yeah, we make a mad dash over towards the ticket counter to purchase Shinkansen tickets, and we get on that thing. I eat a pork chop sandwich, basically, uh, a pork, a pork cutlet, a breaded pork cut. I forget what the actual thing is. It tonkatsu? Uh, Whatever the case may be, I ate one of those bad boys on the train, and again, it was about an hour and a half um, in some uncomfortable seats, but I got some pretty cool footage. I saw some pretty cool scenery. Lynn Ratman spawns in. Yo, what's up, Lynn? Welcome back to the stream. How you doing? For some reason, my Streamlabs chat does not seem to be working. Oh wait, yes it is. The multi-stream doesn't seem to be working. I don't know why multi-stream isn't working, but hey, how you doing, Lynn? Welcome back to the stream. So after the train, after the Shinkansen, we get off in Kyoto station, and it's busy. It's packed as every train station in Japan seems to be. Um, we have some time. We can't check into our places until 3. We arrive at around 1. We arrive at around 1, so we have a couple hours. So we put our luggage into a locker and we just start walking around the city, which is great. It's beautiful. There's a lot of really cool stuff. It's hot as hell. Again, it reminds me of Okinawa in that regard. But we walk around, we're looking at stuff. She's telling me, she's recounting, because she used to live in Kyoto when she worked at Nintendo's headquarters here. And so she was telling me all these places she used to go to and things she did here and there. And Lauren, here's what I've learned about Lauren on this trip. She is a Terminator, basically. She is a Terminator. Like, she is relentless. Like, she can walk at a very fast pace, non-stop, for hours. Hours and hours. And she doesn't really need to eat, it seems. Like, she'll eat a little something, but then go for like 15 hours without having to need any other kind of sustenance. And I'm coming from Texas. Like, I think she's just used to that because, she's lived in Japan for so long, both in her college years and working at Nintendo. She lives in London, which is a walkable city that has public transit. She lived in Seattle. I don't know how much walking she did there, but I think she got into hiking in Seattle. So I think there was never a point in her life, I don't think, where she had a long period of time where she didn't walk everywhere. And I'm the total opposite. Like, I used to walk everywhere too, and it was great, and I loved it. But once I got a desk job, like, I stopped walking everywhere. Like, I had to drive, because I was in Austin. I had to drive everywhere. I lived in North Austin and worked in South Austin. I'm not walking that. We don't have trains or anything like that. So I just got used to driving. Flash forward about 24 years later, and I'm living a lifestyle that is outlandishly sedentary. Like, I don't get more than maybe 1,500 steps a day, which is shameful. I need to do a hell of a lot more than that. But I went from that on Thursday, or on Friday, I guess on Thursday, and then I had a boost in my steps via travel, walking in airports and whatnot. But on that Saturday, that first Saturday in Tokyo, at 22,000 steps. It was crazy. I never walked that much in a long, long time. And I was feeling it. I was so sore the next day. My feet were hurting. but there was just no stop. It was just the next day. We were walking like crazy. We were walking all over the place, getting on trains. And it isn't just like the walking itself. When you get on the train, if you're not used to it, you're standing up, you have to know how to like rotate your body to adjust to like the train's movement so you don't fall down. And you know, that's a lot of footwork. So my feet were already hurting, in addition to like having to shift the weight of my body around on my feet to not fall on any of these tiny Japanese people around me. And I'm holding on to like the ring, so I'm getting like a good upper body workout. There was one time I was standing up in front of like the seats. There was a little tiny Japanese woman sitting in front of me, and I'm holding on to the ring. And like the train, for whatever reason, just like really jolted. And I think under any other normal circumstances, I would have just fallen over. But like, if I had done that here, I would have definitely murdered a small Japanese woman. Like, I would have crushed her. And I was seconds away from doing it. But like, I saw it happening, and like, I summoned an upper body strength that I did not know I had. And I was just clinging on to dear life for that on that ring, like, just almost falling over. And luckily, I kept myself from falling and managed to pull myself back up. But the next day, and I didn't realize this, I was talking to Lauren about it. I was like, I don't know why. I was like, why is this sore? I get why my legs are sore, why my feet are sore, but why is this part sore? Why is all this sore? And then I realized after the fact it's because I've been using a lot of upper body strength, keeping myself from falling down on trains, in addition to all the other additional walking. This has been a great full body exercise experience, just walking around places. But yeah, and Lauren is like, she's a taskmaster. She can just walk constantly, like, and no distance matters to her. Like, she would be like, let's go look at the shrine that's over here. It's like, all right, well, how far is it? And she's like, oh, it's about 30-minute walk. And I was like, 30-minute walk, okay, I guess maybe we could do that. But then I would check on the thing, and it's like, oh, this is like a full hour fucking walk away. But like, it makes no difference to her whether something is a 30-minute walk away or an hour walk away. It makes zero difference to her. She'll just beeline to it, have no problems. So I walked around the city with her a bit while we were waiting to check in. And the plan was to check into the hotel, chill for a second, and then meet up with a friend of hers here and have dinner. I was like, okay, cool. And then later on the evening, go to the big shrine here. I forget the name of it. It's like Fushimi something or other. Could you see the life-size Gundam when you flew in? You know what? I didn't see it when I flew in because I didn't fly into Tokyo. I flew into Narita. But I did better than just go see it or see it from like a plane. I went and saw the damn thing. Let me see if I can I think I uploaded those ones. Yeah. So we were having dinner in Obita, or Odaiba rather, and right behind us was the giant Gundam. And every 30 minutes or so, it does like a little show thing where it lights up a little bit, like the shoulder pad part opens up. You can see, let me see. I don't know if you can quite tell from this, but like, I think I was just keeping, yeah, you see the lights come on there. The lights flash on. His little antenna thing moves. Like the shoulder pads open up and whatnot. And then like I have a better video of it because I actually like, you know, I got down on the ground floor, and right over here off to the side is where they'll have like a video that like plays a montage of scenes from Gundam. This thing doesn't actually move all that much. Like the little headpiece moves and the shoulder pads open, but nothing else moves. Which is kind of a letdown, honestly. Just a little bit. I didn't know what to expect. I guess I wasn't really expecting it to like get up and jump around or anything, but I thought maybe the arms might move a little. But it was still pretty awesome to see. And it is impressive. I took a picture. I don't have it on my drive, but I took a picture posing in front of it, and it's big. It is Gundam sized for sure. It is Gundam sized for sure. Hello, happy birthday. Yo, what's up, Anthony? How you doing? Thank you. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. That looks cool. The giant Gundam was awesome. Like I'm glad I got to go see that. I'm glad I got to go see that. I'm gonna walk over to the Nintendo store here in a second, but man, my legs are. So yeah, yes. And so here's what happened. The plan was check in at 3, chill, go to dinner, meet her with a friend of hers for dinner, and then go to the shrine at night. But after we checked in, after I rested for a little bit, I was like, all right, let's meet up at KYOTO Tower. We'll go do whatever. We met up at the tower, and then the plan changed. The plan changed. She was like, okay, we're gonna meet up with my friend at the station, and then we're gonna go to the shrine first. And at this point, I'm pretty fucking hungry. Like all I had was that pork chop sandwich before the train ride, like 4 hours earlier. Or at this point, it may have been 5 hours earlier. About 4 hours earlier. So I was fucking hungry. But I was like, all right, fine, we can do that. We can do it in reverse order, sure. So we go over to the shrine, and it's awesome. It's a beautiful shrine. It's I wish I had uploaded the images, but let me see if I can find. I know that Afroventus was the one that was telling me about it, but I don't have. Oh, my Google is all in Japanese too, so I can't. I don't even know what I'm Googling. I'll have to get the name of the shrine later, but I mean, it's basically built into the side of a mountain. It's a shrine that's built into the side of a mountain, and it has all these fox statues everywhere, and it's really cool. But the whole idea is that you walk up a mountain. So on a day when my legs are already cooked from walking around Tokyo, and my feet are already busted from walking around Kyoto, like, and you know, having to maintain balance on a train, like, we're about to walk up the side of a fucking mountain. And at this point, I'm just like, all right, let's just hurry up and do this so that we can. And I'm not trying. I'm not saying this, you know. And I'm happy to be there. It is beautiful. I'm taking pictures. But honestly, like at this point, I was just so physically cooked that I was like, we got to get this over with so I could chill. Like, this is my birthday. I want to eat delicious food, then get shit faced. But we ended up walking up. Not about, maybe we got to a little bit less than the halfway point, because there are a ton of stairs. We walked up a ton of stairs, and I was just covered in sweat, and my legs were killing me, and the sun was setting. And I wanted to walk more at night because apparently it's pretty creepy at night, and I wanted to get that, but also at that point I was just beyond starving. Like, I was like, all right, we need to go. So we made our way back down. We had some, I think amazake is what it was, which is like this non-alcoholic rice wine that some woman at the shrine there brews herself. It was pretty delicious. It was really good. We had a little thing of that. And then we went to a yakitori place by Kyoto Station that was super fucking busy. We had to wait for about 40 minutes. And at this point, it's been almost 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours since I last ate. And I was just exhausted physically. But once we sat down and started tearing up that yakitori, my energy came back to me. I had a bunch of beer and, you know, chicken skewers and all that, and it was amazing and it was delicious. And after that, I was like, yeah, let's party, let's go. And so I drug her and her friend out. Well, her friend actually drinks in that area, so he knew a lot of the bars to go to. So I was just following him. But most of the bars that he knows to go to were all closed on a Tuesday. So we ended up going to this other random place. And Lauren, who does not really drink at all, I kind of ended up, I was pouring it on. I was like, let's go, just downing them. And she was keeping pace pretty well, but I guess I may have pushed her a bit over the edge because she texted me this morning and she was like, I feel like shit. I don't think I'm gonna do anything beyond meeting some coworkers for lunch. Blah blah blah. And I was like, yep, I think I did it. I think as much as as much as I of a Terminator that I thought she was, walking around everywhere with like a relentless pace, like she couldn't withstand a night of drinking with me. One night of drinking with me put her out of commission. I feel kind of bad too. I feel kind of bad about that. Ugh. It was a fun birthday, though. I enjoyed it. Happy birthday. Hey, Haunted Wisp. Welcome back to the stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. How are you doing? How's your night treating you? I guess it's night for you. A little after noon for me. Happy birthday. I clicked your video without reading your title. Hey, no worries. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. Oh man, my legs are shot. I gotta walk a ways to the Nintendo store too. I was asking my friends, I was like, well, is there anything you want me to bring back from Japan for you? And Marty was like, the only thing he said was eye drops. He was like, eye drops. And I was like, eye drops? Really? That's what you want me to bring back? And he's like, oh yeah, all the Japanese ball players swear by them. Like every Japanese ball player in America, imports eye drops from Japan because they're like supposed to be way, way better. And I was like, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. And I asked Lauren about it, and Lauren was like, oh yeah, Japanese eye drops are amazing. I'll let you know which ones to get. And like my mind is like perplexed. I'm like, why are Japanese eye drops of all things, so much better than American ones? You'd think there'd be some parity in that at least. But I guess it's a thing. So I gotta find some. I gotta go to the Nintendo store and see what's around there. Gotta find some eye drops. It's a weird scavenger hunt. The guy I was talking to last night was telling me about how grapes, how much different grapes and strawberries here are. Which, two of my favorite fruits. I gotta try those out while I'm here. Way too wide awake for my schedule. How am I gonna get to sleep on time? You sound like me. The funny thing is, like, because of my fucked up travel day on Friday when I got here, I honestly have not experienced really any jet lag. Like, there's been no jet lag, which is weird. Like, it's weird to go from, like, Austin time zone to Japan time zone and not have any issues happen. But, because I was awake for ostensibly 40 hours by the time I got here, on that Friday night, I passed out at like 10 p.m. and I woke up at like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning or something. And, I was awake for a little while and then went back to sleep at around, I want to say 11, somewhere around there. But after that, like, I've never had a more normal sleeping schedule than I have right now. It kind of weirds me out. Like, I feel like I'm not getting enough sleep because I keep waking up really early. Like, today was probably the latest I woke up, and I woke up at 9 a.m. I woke up at 9 a.m. and I was like, oh, I woke up early. I woke up early again. Like, why am I waking up early? Like, am I getting enough sleep? And it's like, no, it's because I went to sleep at 1:30 last night, so it was a little bit later than I had been. Usually I've been going to sleep before midnight even, which is unheard of for me. But even going to sleep by 1:30 is super early by my standards. It's because I don't have my gaming PC. If I had my gaming PC here, then I'd be going to sleep at like 4 a.m. like I normally do. So, especially now, I think Next Fest is happening. There's a lot of gaming stuff I need to catch up on. Next Fest is happening on Steam. There was the Xbox showcase where they announced a bunch of games and whatnot. Oh, the Dragon Age gameplay video. I need to watch that. I need to watch the Dragon Age gameplay video because I watched the announcement trailer with the character reveals, and I wasn't a big fan. They kind of premiered the characters the way that you would do it for a hero shooter. It looked like they were turning Dragon Age into a hero shooter. But I saw a small little clip, a small little snippet of gameplay, and I was like, this actually doesn't look that bad at all. So I need to watch more of that and see what it actually looks like. But I've missed out on a lot of this stuff. Hey Lulu, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope your night's treating you well too. I've been missing out on all sorts of stuff. But that just means I guess I got a lot to catch up on when I get back to America. Feeling sick today? Ate something bad? Almost fell asleep before catch your stream. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. How's the trip? What's been going on? You missed a little bit of my recap from yesterday. Trip is fun. It's great, but Lauren, was telling her last night because like Lauren has kind of been a little bit. Okay, I guess maybe I should tell the whole story of why this trip even exists to begin with. I mean, where do I even start with this? I feel like, you know what? I'm going to start at the very beginning. I'm going to start at the very, very beginning. And I'll divulge all the information that I feel like I am able to divulge. And there's some information that I'm aware of that I will, I'll let Lauren explain it if she ever feels so compelled to. But the year was 2010 or 11, somewhere around there. Uh, at that time, Lauren was working, and for further background, Lauren and I have been friends since 1999. We were actually telling her friend last night about that because he was asking, he was like, how long have you guys known each other? And she was like, oh, we've been friends since like high school, and like 1999, like we met in the AOL chat room and just always kept in contact since. So we've been friends for many, many years. Um, she was working at a fashion company called Tom Brown. She was not happy. She didn't like it. She wanted to do something else. I was working at BioWare at the moment, and was like, "Hey, why don't you get into games? You're into video games as much as I am. Like, why don't you do that?" So I found a position that Nintendo had listed for a translator, um, and I sent it to her, and she was like, oh, I'm not good enough, etc., etc. All the general you know, self-defeating, low self-esteem kind of stuff that everybody has. I have it. I do it to myself too. But I guess maybe a part of my Gemini trait. There's the one side of me that has that sort of self-defeating attitude that I feel every day, even when I stream, especially when I stream. I have a very low opinion of myself as a streamer, as a content creator. And a lot of the times it makes me not want to do it. For as much as I stream, every time I hit that start streaming button, I'm always thinking to myself, what am I doing? I shouldn't be doing this. But then the other Gemini side of me, that other personality is like, fuck it, who cares? Do it. Do it anyways. Like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters, so do it. And I have that battle that's constantly waging in me. But I kind of exuded that second personality on her, and I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter if you feel that you aren't worthy. You're going to do it anyways because I'm telling you to. Now just listen to me, do exactly what I say. And so she was like, okay. She submitted her resume. They liked it. They called her in for an interview. I was like, well, because she was living in New York at the time, but I was like, do you have a friend who lives in Seattle that whose address you can use? And she was like, yeah, actually I do. I was like, okay, just ask their permission, but then put their address on your resume so they think that you live there. Um, I think it might technically be. I don't know if it's actually illegal or not, but there might be some kind of law against discriminating for someone who lives out of state within the context. And maybe I don't think that's true for outside the country, but state by state, I think it might be a law. But regardless, I know that there is that discrimination that happens. So in order to just get past that barrier, I was like, put somebody else's address on there so they don't think that you're living in New York. She was like, okay. And they wanted to interview her, and she was like, oh my God, they want to interview me in person. I was like, well, do you have any flyer miles or whatever? She was like, yeah, I've got a bunch. I was like, okay, so then use your flyer miles, see if you can crash at your friend's place, go to your interview, etc. She was like, okay. So she did that. She flew over from New York to Seattle, had her in-person interview, and then flew back to New York. A little while later, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks later, they contacted her again. They were like, "We really like you. We want to bring you in for a second interview." And she was like, "Oh my God, how am I going to do that?" And she eventually, I think, her dad had a bunch of flyer miles, so she used her dad's flyer miles, and then paid some balance or whatever, and flew back for a second in-person interview. Eventually, they hired her. They hired her. Of course, they would. I knew they would. She's an awesome person, more awesome than she thinks she is. So it didn't surprise me at all that they hired her. So she moved from New York to Seattle to work at Nintendo, and et cetera, et cetera. She worked there for like 11, 12 years or some shit like that. Um, and it was a sordid saga of moving between Nintendo Studio to Nintendo Studio and all that sort of stuff that she can get into, on her stream should she feel compelled to get into it. All this is to lead up to a point about a year, maybe a year and a half ago or so, maybe a little longer. I don't know how long ago it was, but she decided to quit Nintendo. She wanted to go to grad school in Scotland. She was working at Nintendo in Seattle at the time. She worked at the KYOTO headquarters for about 3 years, but ended up getting transferred to Nintendo in Seattle. She wasn't a big fan of that. She didn't like living in the States. She wanted to get out of America. So she decided that her best option to do that was going to grad school in Scotland and then getting a work visa to work at a company in London. So she quit Nintendo to do that. And she did it. She went to school in Scotland, got a thing, working at a company in London right now. But she's not really enjoying the company she's working at now, on top of the fact that the title that they were working on has ostensibly been canceled. So everybody's job security is like really questionable right now. She doesn't really know what's happening. Morale at the studio is at an all-time low. She's not feeling it. But like her visa is on the line. Like if she gets laid off or the company shuts down or whatever, there's a possibility that if she doesn't find employment in 60 days, I think, then she'll have to go back to the U.S. She wants to go back to Nintendo. So she planned this trip to basically, talk to her former coworkers and her former boss and whatnot, and get her job back. Basically, she describes it as coming to Japan to beg for her job back. So she told me about this some time ago, and I was like, okay, cool. That's you should do that. And I asked her when she was gonna go, and she told me, and I was like, oh, you're going the week of my birthday. That's awesome. I was like, maybe I should go and just have my birthday there. And I said it really flippantly, like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna randomly go to Japan for my birthday, whatever. Maybe I should do that. But she was like, yeah, come on, it'd be awesome. I could show you around, blah blah blah. And I thought about it, and et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, I'm here now. So that's the lead up to from how this trip the inception of this trip to how I'm here now. And today, actually, today. It's the reason we're in Kyoto, because Nintendo's headquarters are in Kyoto. So, this is begging for job back day for Lauren. She's off doing that right now, and knock on wood. Everybody, send all your positive vibes out. I don't. I mean, it's not like they're gonna hire her, while they're eating lunch somewhere. But I hope that she has the opportunity to come back. This city is awesome. Kyoto is an amazing place. But anyway, so you know, we were hanging out with one of her old Nintendo coworkers last night. He still works at Nintendo, I think, and it was really interesting hearing him share what Japanese development studios are like. Because like I had a lot of questions like what are Japanese engineers like? Because I know what American engineers are like. They're crazy personality types. That you have to learn to adjust to. And he shared his opinion. He's an American who moved over there too, so he shared his opinion both as an American who shares in American sensibilities as far as game development and engineering goes, but also as someone who is fluent in Japanese and lives there and has a Japanese wife and kids, and he knows the culture very intimately. And just hearing him describe like the Japanese mindset for game development and engineering, and especially describing Nintendo's structure, like how they do decision making there and what the hierarchy is like. It's pretty weird. Like according to him, and he didn't use these words, he didn't use this terminology. He just described to me how they do decision making and what hierarchy and roles look like there. But based off of his description, to me it sounds like Nintendo is like an anarcho-communist like run facility. Like it's all democratic. It's all flat, kind of flat hierarchy ish, flat ish. There's definitely like roles and positions that have a little bit more power and authority over the others, but big broad decisions get made democratically, and it involves like a lot of like getting groups on board to like side with proposals. Like it doesn't seem like in America where there's like a overseer on high who makes a decision and then everybody below that guy falls in line behind that decision. Doesn't seem like it's anything like that at all. So it was fascinating to hear that part. Um, it falls in line with a lot of um, what other stuff we talked about as far as like the generally communal nature of Japanese society in general. But you know, he didn't have a he didn't have an incredibly high opinion of the skill level of Japanese engineers, and I asked him why, and like prior to our conversation, we had talked. I was talking to him about like, my experiences working with American engineers, because I was asking, I was like, what are Japanese engineers like? Because I know what American engineers are like. They could tend to be egotists, but they're always like, they're very, they're not conservative minded. They're very eager and willing to learn new tools, new techniques. They're always updating their tech stack, and they're willing to break things, trying something new. And it makes it interesting. It's always an interesting endeavor. And when I asked him about how are Japanese engineers, how do they work, and he basically was like, well, he thinks their skill level is low, primarily because they aren't as adventurous as American engineers. They're a lot more risk averse, and because of that, they don't explore new tech or anything like that with any degree of frequency, because of the fear of breaking something, or having to put in a lot of work to get it to work right, and all of that kind of stuff. And not just with tech, but also with processes. And it was interesting hearing that, and it was like, oh, okay, that's fascinating. That can explain that explains some things to me. It helps me rationalize in my mind some things about why I feel, you know, 30 years ago, Japan was the cutting edge of game development. And you would look to Japanese game studios to see, what the future of gaming looked like. And that hasn't been the case in many, many years. And it's like, what happened? How did that happen? How did it become that America is now the cutting edge of game development? And a lot of it is just, you know, quick early adaptation of new types of technologies and processes, and one side was quick to adapt, eager to explore and experiment, and I guess the other side was, for lack of a better term, stuck in their ways and less eager to experiment. And the end result is, you know, less innovation, I suppose, less creativity, maybe. And I don't mean from like an artistic standpoint. I mean from like an engineering standpoint, which can impact the artistry for certain. But I don't know. It was an interesting conversation, I thought. It was cool to actually talk to somebody that had a lot of that experience on that side, on this side of the planet. And then we drank Lauren under the table. What would be some tips you could give someone who has not been to Japan? Oh, excellent question. Excellent question. Okay, so I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm actually kind of doing some scouting for my sister. My sister wants to come here in 2026 with her family. Her husband, and 3 kids. And what I would tell my sister is pretty much what I'll tell anybody. It depends on what you're looking for, where you're at in life, as far as energy level, as far as your prior experiences with travel or living in big cities or small towns or whatever. 20 years ago, I would have loved Tokyo so much. It would have been my jam completely. I would have been there for a while, you know. And I do still like it. Tokyo's awesome. There's a lot of great things, and I didn't get to explore a fraction of the entirety of the city. You know, I didn't get to go to Akihabara. I didn't really get to go to Shibuya. There's a lot that I can still explore, if I had the time. But the places I did go to, I enjoyed a lot. But I think right now, I'm at a point where, like, the high energy, big city hustle and bustle is not my vibe. It's not my vibe anymore. What I'm going to tell my sister is, and this, I guess, is travel advice. So, there's your functional advice, like right now the yen is weak, so, pay for everything with cash and US dollars, if you can. Well, not US dollars, you'll convert it to yen, but like the dollar is really strong. I took out $350 in yen, basically, 50,000 yen, when I got here on Friday. And it's pretty much lasted me. Like, that $350 has lasted me, this entire trip, with my meals, with, getting on trains, with, shopping. Like, it's gone a long ways. So right now, it's a good time to do that. Outside from that, and I guess other day-to-day functioning stuff. Get yourself one of these guys. Well, maybe not one of this. This is actually a cigarette butt holder. So, like, you smoke a cigarette and then you put your cigarette butt in here. But I use it to hold my yen because coin currency is huge. I forgot how big coins were in Japan. So, if you don't have some kind of a coin purse to hold it in, you're just going to have a bunch of change in your pocket. So there is that. There's stuff like that. But what I'm going to tell my sister is, book your vacation in Kyoto or city similar type city. I like this city. I would say Kyoto. Make Tokyo a weekend junket. Like if you could stay for more than a week, then stay in Kyoto, enjoy this city, and then just get on the Shinkansen get on the Shinkansen and then spend like 2 or 3 days in Tokyo. Get in, get out, go back to Kyoto, and then explore Osaka. Go to Kobe or whatever. That would be my advice. Uh, if you just want to party hard and get shit faced, then yeah, hang out and you can. I mean, you can do that anywhere really, but Tokyo has a lot of really cool city nightlife stuff to engage with. But I definitely prefer the pace and vibe of Kyoto more. Um, don't be afraid of living out of convenience stores, man. I've been eating a lot of bentos from Family Mart. That Family Mart jingle is gonna live in my head all day, y'all, all year long. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss walking into a convenience store and hearing that little ditty. But I've been eating a lot of Family Mart stuff, little rice balls, or the crustless sandwiches. Um, 7-Eleven, their chicken sandwich is pretty good. Um, I use Google Lens. Google Lens is actually pretty fucking awesome. You get the Google app on your phone, and then in the search bar there's a little camera icon. You tap on the camera icon, and then you can just put the camera up to something. I put it up to Japanese text, like on a menu or on a sign or something, and then I hit the translate button, and it'll live translate what that sign or what that menu says. So Google Lens can come in really, really, really handy. It's actually super awesome. I'll keep yin in my cheeks. Mouth cheeks, that is. I was wondering, Lynn. I was like, damn, really? You're going to keep them in your cheeks? So you're going to be paying for a sandwich and you're just going to spread open right there in the middle of Family Mart? That's a good way to get arrested in Japan, honestly. I would recommend against that, but if getting arrested in Japan is on your bucket list, then by all means, knock yourself out. Guess what? You're all in bed with me again. All right, well, awesome, Wisp. I hope you can pass out. Hope you can get some sleep. I'll try not to disturb you while you're rolling around in bed. Yo, Haunted Taco, welcome back to the stream. Devin, how's your new job at the Maid Cafe going? Okay, so here's the bummer about that. Two things. One, I went to the Maid Cafe, but I couldn't go in because it's reservation only. I didn't realize that. By the time I went there and saw that it was reservation only, it was the last night in Tokyo. I was like, damn, so I'm not gonna be able to get to the Muscle Girl bar. So, and it's a real bummer because the Muscle Girl bar was actually walking distance from my Airbnb. So, missed opportunity there. But in Kyoto, they have the opposite. They have the opposite of the Muscle Girl bar here. They have a bar called Macho. I think it's called Macho Man or Macho Bar. Yeah, it's called Macho Bar, and it's just a bunch of Japanese dudes who are ripped and burly. And I was like, all right, I couldn't go to the Muscle Girl bar, but maybe I'll go to the Muscle Man bar. And me and Lauren and her coworker, we walked over there last night, and we tried to get into the Muscle Dude bar, but it was at capacity. It was just full of Japanese girls and all these ripped Japanese dudes walking around. But the funny thing is, like, a bunch of Japanese girls sitting at the bar saw us try to walk in, and I think they saw me because I was towering above everybody else. Lauren and her friend are standard Japanese people size. They aren't Japanese, but they're Japanese people size. They're like 5'5" or 5'6", but I'm 6'5". I'm a giant black dude with a crazy white beard. So like, I don't think they were expecting to see someone like me trying to walk through the door. Like they saw me and they lost their minds. Like they lost their minds. Like I could see their brains melting. They were like screaming at each other and looking at me and like pointing and shit. And like not in like a rude way. I think they probably were drunk. And they were drunk and surprised at the image of me trying to get into their bar. But they were at capacity, so we couldn't. I would have loved to have got in and further blow their minds, but they were at capacity. Lauren wants me to try to go back to the bar at some point before we leave, but I don't know if that'll be able to happen. Honestly, I kind of also got the vibe that they didn't want any weird foreigners taking up bar space from Japanese women who were eager and willing to spend all of their money on muscle man service, you know. Which, I get. I understand that. But yeah, I didn't get to do any of the muscle stuff. No muscle girls, no muscle bros. Kind of a letdown. I might go to. I think I'm going to try to go to an onsen on Thursday, though. That'll probably be the last thing I do on my way out. Is go to an onsen here. They thought you were part of the talent. I would have been a very disappointing addition to the talent, honestly. I am not muscle. There's no muscle to be found here. I guess there's a little bit, but not an impressive amount of muscle. I need to lift more to do anything like that. You should have started dancing your way into it. I should have. I was wearing a button-up shirt. I should have just started to strip. Just do a little dance. Unbutton a couple of buttons. See how it goes. But again, I don't have the physique for that. So the jig would have instantly been up the second my shirt goes off. What time is it? 1. Trying to decide if I want a cab over to the. The other thing is, I've wanted to do some IRL streams off of my phone, but every time I'm like, oh, this would be a good opportunity. I'm like, okay, here's another thing. Japanese people, the Japanese sensibility in public is keep to yourself, don't be disruptive, right? Especially on trains. And that's pretty much my sensibility too. That's how I am. But whenever I do feel like, oh, this would be a cool opportunity to like, you know, and I've been taking videos, but whenever I've been like, this has been a cool opportunity to like maybe do a live stream, I'm always like, oh, but that would be so disruptive. Like I don't want to be that annoying guy, you know, that's walking down, you know, live streaming everything or live streaming in a context where, you know, it would be disruptive to people around you. So I just haven't been able to do that lately. I haven't been able to do that. So I've been trying to be as respectful as possible. Um, I don't want to be the annoying foreigner, the annoying foreign live streamer. So, uh, you know, I would like to at least do a live stream, but I doubt that's gonna happen. Maybe if there's, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel. Maybe, but how many 6'5" black dudes are in Japan? Um, Not very many my height. I mean, there are a fair number of black people in Japan, honestly, especially in Tokyo. I mean, a lot of them are Africans, you know, but you know, I've seen a fair number of black people around, um, and there are a number of tall people. Every tall person, I think I've seen a few people who are actually taller than me, and they all seem to be Germans, either German or like Scandinavian. Uh, so I've seen a couple of tall people, but not Japanese people, and you know, a whole lot of tall black people, but I've seen a lot of black dudes. There was a black kid at Kyoto Station. I was wearing my I was wearing this shirt, which is, for those who know, this is a one piece shirt. This is the shirt that Luffy wears when he's disguised as Lucy in Dressrosa. It's also a really dope shirt, which is why I bought it. I was wearing that, and there was some black kid who was wearing like a Zorro wanted poster shirt, and he saw my shirt, and I could tell by the look on his face that he immediately recognized it and that he really wanted to say something to me about it, but didn't want to be that guy. So like that made me laugh. I was waiting for him to say something, but like he didn't want to be that guy. He just walked past me smirking, which was kind of amusing. I need to get around to going to Japan. I've flown over Japan. Maybe next time that I'm in Asia. For certain, you definitely do. I do like this country a lot. Um, like, I feel like, and maybe this is just, I don't know if this is based on anything real, but I feel like there's like some kind of a, I don't know how to describe it. Hold on, Bezos has cursed me with an ad. Fair enough. I'll wait for a second. We could all use this as an opportunity to take a little break. There we go. I've flown over Japan to get to Korea. My grandmother lived in Japan for some time. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I mean, you should definitely go. Um, the dude I was talking to last night was telling me about Hokkaido and how he took the Shinkansen. He lives in Kyoto and he took it up to Hokkaido, and just the fact that the train connects so much of the country together is fucking awesome. Like, it was from Kyoto to Tokyo. It took us an hour and a half, and it goes fast, and it's pretty cool to see. It took us an hour and a half, but if you drove that distance, it would take 6 hours. It would be like driving from Austin to Oklahoma City. I use that as a frame of reference because I live in Austin and my brother lives in Oklahoma City. So whatever 6 hour drive works for you. I don't know, Chicago to Cleveland, is that a 6 hour drive? I have no idea. I don't know what the rest of the country looks like distance wise. I just know Texas. So Austin to Oklahoma City, 6 hours. But if I could get on a bullet train and go from Austin to Oklahoma City in an hour and a half, I would do it all the time. I would love to go see my nieces more often. I would love that. That would be so cool to, like, you know, all right, I'm going to get on the Texas Shinkansen, and I'm going to get on there at 10 in the morning, go up to Oklahoma City, hang out with my nieces all day, eat dinner with my brother and his wife, and then in the evening get back on the Shinkansen, and an hour and a half later I'm back home and can go to sleep in my own bed. How fucking awesome would that be? That would be incredible. It would be, if I drove from Austin to El Paso, that's a 9 hour drive. Big Bend is out there. I would love to go to Big Bend, and it's on my list. I want to go camping in Big Bend at some point. But it's a 9 hour drive from Austin to El Paso. And if I could get on a Texas Shinkansen and make that drive in like 2.5 hours even, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. I would do that all the time too. I would be traveling all over Texas with a great degree of frequency if we had something that connected our cities the way that the Shinkansen connects, you know, most of the major cities in Japan, in mainland Japan at least. Like it makes no sense that we don't have it. It makes no sense that in a state like, you know what? How big is Japan compared to Texas? I don't know if any of these are accurate. What U.S. state is closest in size to Japan? California. Japan is around the same size as California. Okay. I guess it's a little bit bigger. I mean, it's a long. I mean, it's about longer, a little bit longer. Is this accurate? I think this might be an accurate one here. Wait, what happened? Where's the thing? So I guess that's kind of the comparison. Obviously, Japan is longer. It's mostly like I guess from I guess I guess they connect, you know, Sapporo and whatnot via roads here, but from here, I guess from probably here to here is probably comparable from here to about here. I guess Japan is maybe a little bit. I mean, it's a lot longer. As far as the area, though, like you know, this so much of Texas in the middle here would make up what you get from here to here and here to here. I guess I'd be looking at square mileage. Hold on to your kimonos, folks, because Texas is roughly twice the size of Japan. You can fit all of Japan's gorgeous mountains, bustling cities, affordable cat cafes into Texas with room to spare for a whole lot of Whataburger franchises. Okay, so that's how big it is. It's almost twice. I don't know, my ad blocker isn't working anymore. Texas is approximately 678,052 square kilometers, while Japan is approximately 377,915 square kilometers, making Japan 55.74% the size of Texas. So, yeah, it's about half the size of Texas. Half the size of Texas, but all of its major cities are more connected. I once mistook a rock star. Wait, I was once mistook as a rock star and was ushered into a VIP room at a restaurant once. LMAO. Your story reminded me of that. Oh, dude, I used to get confused as football players all the time. Here's the thing. Here's how you know when you're letting yourself go. At first, people used to confuse me. People used to think that I played basketball. They're like, "Oh, you're a basketball player. You play basketball, right?" "No, I thought I saw you play basketball." Blah 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 blah. And I used to get that all the time. But as I started to let myself go, I started getting more and more. "Oh, you play football, right? Yeah, you're a football player. Yeah, yeah, you play football. You're a linebacker?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a linebacker. Okay, at least they have me as a linebacker. I look built. I look stout as a linebacker. Sure, yeah, I played linebacker. Why not?" But then, Like the positions also give it away because eventually it went from you play linebacker to you're a defensive lineman, right? I was like, defensive lineman? It's like, oh fuck. I must be putting it on then. It's like, no, 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 I was a linebacker. I was a linebacker, not a defensive lineman. And then once they get to offensive linemen, that's when you know you're really fucked. Once you get to offense, once people start saying you played offensive line, right? That's when you know you're really fucked. You're one step away from people being like, "Oh, you're a sumo, right? You're a professional sumo." So I got to get back into being mistaken as a basketball player. I believe that I do have some family there. Go visit your family. It would be pretty cool to be here. I promise you, this is worthwhile. The trip sucked, but something tells me, Taco, that you have money. You have money, so you can pay for a good seat on a plane. Um, if you're gonna be on a 12-hour flight here, do not cheap on the plane. Get yourself a premium seat. If if not business class, if not first class. It's the only way to fly for 12 plus hours. Hokkaido is pretty. Imagine living in a country with good infrastructure. I used to daydream about that all the time, and then my week here in Japan has manifested those daydreams into something real, and it's like, oh, this is what it's like. Like, this is what it's like to have a reliable systems of transit. Like this is nice. This is nice, and that's not to say this is like a perfect wonderland. There are plenty of other issues here, and I've heard all about it these past couple nights. Talking to Lauren's coworker, he was explaining some issues. We went to dinner in Shinjuku with another one of her friends that works for Sony here in Japan, and then another friend of ours actually. Like I mentioned earlier, Lauren and I met in an AOL chat room in like 1999. It was an anime chat room that abundant. That's where I met Royal too. Royal is from that same group of friends from way back when, and one of the people from that friend group lives in Kawasaki, and when she found out that Lauren and I were coming, she was like, "Oh, I want to meet up with you guys and hang out," and she came out, and that was the first time. Again, I met her like in 1999 too, but a couple nights ago was the first time I met her in person. Which is crazy, but it was cool. And I talked with her, and heard from them all about the issues that people living in Japan face. So it's by no stretch of the imagination like a wonderland, but compared to America, like it's just on a whole other level. Like, I don't really have to worry. Like, I don't have to. I have a lot of like Texas paranoia rooted in me. I was showering the other night and somebody knocked on my door. I think it was the people who run my Airbnb, because I think they, like, in the little area I was staying at, I think that they do Airbnb and all the connecting units, and I think that they were like, somebody had just left, and I think that they were cleaning it. They were doing cleaning on two of them, and I think they were knocking on my door to just warn me, because it was a little late at night. I think they were knocking on my door just to warn me that they were going to be making some noise, but I was in the shower when I heard a knock on my door, and like, living in America, getting a random knock, unexpected knock on your door at like 11 at night is, that's like, that's fight or flight mode. That's like someone's at the door with a gun. I gotta go get my gun and make sure that I'm the one that shoots first or whatever. You just have like all the worst scenarios that cycle through your mind, and especially when it pertains to like gun violence and stuff. And it's just not a thing here. Like, I had to remind myself, all right, calm down, chill. I mean, first of all, I lock the door. I always lock doors, but lock door or not, it's like, this isn't America. Like, there are some things here that I don't really have to worry about. Like, there's not going to be a mass shooting at a grocery store here. So, I'm pretty sure I'm safe from that. Dallas to San Antonio. I would like that too. I mean, just so long as if there's a stop in Austin on the way, I would get on that. Get on a bullet train from Austin to San Antonio. That would be like a 20-minute train ride. If you can get on a train in San Antonio and 20 minutes later you're in Austin, there's going to be a lot of people in Austin moving to San Antonio. And maybe even vice versa, who knows? Well, our automotive industry makes a lot of money here. Yeah, that's the real problem. The auto industry and the oil industry. As does the DOT, and the US is massive. I mean, look at Alaska compared to Europe. Yeah, the US is a huge, huge landmass. But I mean, Alaska is a bunch of nothing, though. Like, there's not a whole lot in Alaska. Um, I guess you can say the same about Texas too, but you can expand into Texas. If I again in a world where I was the grand dictator, I would be building hundreds of desalination plants all alongside our coast, East Coast, West Coast, Third Coast, and these desalination plants would feed into pipelines, not oil pipelines, but water pipelines, freshwater pipelines that would be transporting water, into areas of the country that doesn't naturally get a great deal of water. So you could build out towns and cities in huge swaths of unused land in the middle of Texas or in the middle of Nebraska, in the middle of this place or that place, and have a infinite source of fresh water coming from the ocean, which would also theoretically, I would imagine, maybe even help save our coastal cities from flooding. Maybe if we can pump a lot of that water out of the ocean and put it inland, maybe that prevents the oceans from rising enough to threaten our coastal habitat. Who knows? I don't know, but I would do that. I would build a lot of desalination plants to pump seawater out, and then all that excess salt, fucking give it away if you want. Give it to people who live in the north, so that they could use it to salt streets or whatever. Or you could give it to people who want to use it to make table salt, or salt for water softeners, whatever you want to do with it. I don't care. Well, you'll have just a big shit ton of salt. We could sell it to other countries if we want. Yeah, I'm not even from America initially, but there are things I've certainly gotten used to. I grew up in Texas. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you grew up in anywhere in America, you get used to some pretty bad habits. Building hundreds of mines for Don Blankenship. Saving cities, renewable resources. I mean, it just sucks. It just sucks to know that I'm going to be going back to a country that doesn't really give a shit about its people, doesn't have any interest in investing in its people, just grinding everybody down to just bone meal. And that was another point of conversation that I had with the guy at Nintendo, talking about the difference in job stability, because it's virtually impossible to get fired from a Japanese company once you're hired there. And he was talking about the downsides of that. Like, he was talking about the downsides of, you would get somebody who would be hired, and then he would call them coasters, people who just coast, who once they get hired and they know that they're not going to get fired, they don't put in effort, they don't make that kind of thing. And that doesn't quite exist. I mean, that exists in America, of course, but there are ramifications to that in America, which is you lose your job. And he was lamenting that that's not the case in Japan. I was like, okay, I understand that. I get that. Like, But we were also talking about the gaming apocalypse and all the studios shutting down and jobs being lost and whatnot. And, it's definitely a positive that in Japan that just doesn't happen. Like, you do have more stability. Like, a job isn't just it isn't just a job. Like, a career isn't just a thing you do to make money temporarily. Like, it facilitates your ability to live on planet Earth, as a productive member of society. And, I guess in Japan they treat it as such. And, they don't do that in America. And it has its positives and its negatives too. Like, if you really wanted to be hyper capitalistic about it, obviously, it's a case study for getting the most out of your workers by threatening them with their stability. Like, if you don't operate at peak capacity, you're going to be homeless on the streets. By the way, I haven't really seen any homeless people here. Um, I think I may have seen one, which is another interesting thing. In Austin, you can't walk 5 feet out your front door without being aggressively accosted by homeless people. But I haven't really seen any here. Probably has something to do with people not ever getting fired. But then, even the homeless people that do exist, there are programs and such to keep them off the streets. There are two sides of that, and that's being a lineman or a place kicker. I guess, Uh, Sebastian Janikowski was a kicker, and that dude was big as shit. It blows my mind the difference in safety between Japan and US. Here in the States, you have to worry about getting robbed as you stuff your face in a burger. Yeah, like, and I have a lot of, because, like, every now and then, I'll leave my hotel or my old Airbnb that I was staying at to go walk to Family Mart and get something late at night. And in my brain, I still have, I'm still thinking about it, like, as an American. Like, and I'm not saying that it's an incorrect thing to think about. I think I should always be mindful of who I am, how I look, the perception that people may have of me and whatnot. Like, I'm always thinking about it of, like, I'm a big black guy walking down a dark street at night. Like, there's a perception in America. In America, there's a perception of that that's not positive, and I don't know what the Japanese perception of that is. I don't know what they think when they see someone like me walking down the street. Um, I don't know if American culture kind of paints a similar image in their mind, or if they have, interactions with tourists who look like me that maybe makes it a little less threatening. Whatever the case may be, I always have to be mindful of that. So, like, I'll be walking to Family Mart at like midnight, and you know, I'm on edge. I'm on edge because I would have to be on edge, in America, right? Like, I have to be aware of that. If a cop car is driving, towards me, down the street at a late hour at night, I have to be mindful that, if they have any reason to suspect that I'm doing something suspicious, then I could be in for a hell of a night, But is that the case here in Japan? Probably not. I don't know. But you know, the fact that my experience in America paints that in my head is pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up. And Japan is a safer society than America is, but I just don't know what perception someone that looks like me gets. Um, you know, so I mean, this is just one of those things that you have to be mindful of. You'd make pre Y2K Americans worry that you were a commie. I think even post Y2K, a good chunk of post Y2K Americans still have commie worries. You just have to replace commie with China. You'd make post Y2K Americans worry that you were a China. They use the homeless people for fertilizer for all their plants. I mean, that sounds like America, honestly. On the taco, I think you might be confusing Japan and Bosnia. True, I'd still be wary as a woman. Yeah, I mean I think that's probably where you should have more worry in Japan, honestly. But I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't get the vibe. I don't. I haven't. I have yet to get a threatening vibe. I've got some sketchy ones for sure. I've got some sketchy vibes, um, particularly in Shinjuku at night. But I've not gotten any threatening ones. America has partially taught me that lesson, but not entirely just America. No, it's. I mean, it's not exclusive to America, but I mean, my experience is, and I mean, and I've had experiences in Japan prior to this trip too, and I've never felt that it was like an unsafe place, or that there was like a perception of me that would put me in danger. There's a perception of me that probably would prevent me from like going certain places, sure, and a perception of me that would probably be like, not flattering, but I don't think there's anything that would like outwardly put me in like mortal danger the way that, any interaction in public in America could put me in mortal danger. Some safety barriers, just common sense. It is. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, they still have Zimas here. That was an interesting thing to discover. They still have Zimas here. I wish I could bring one back to America, but I guess I could probably just import it too. Japan is super safe for women in some ways, such as females only subway cars, but is also dangerous in other ways, like the rampant unconsensual filming. Oh, it's unsafe in a number of different ways, for sure. Like one of the weird things about going down Shinjuku at night, and it's not just Shinjuku, but it's very prevalent in Shinjuku, are all the hostess bars, like the host bars and hostess bars, because you'll get all of these dolled up women on the streets trying to convince dudes to like come into their bar, and like standing 3 feet to the left of them would be like this seedy yakuza looking club magnate, that just seems to be there to keep an eye on things, and probably for security purposes. It's probably a security guard or whatnot, but like a lot of it just has weird vibes. A lot of it has like almost weird pseudo sex trafficking vibes, you know. And there was like some Nigerian dude that was trying to get me to go into his club. He was trying to sell me on like all the girls that are there, and I was like, I just walked past him. But it's a weird society for sure. But yeah, like I there are girls only clubs too. There's definitely a lot of safe spaces that are carved out specifically for women, but it's still, you know, the fact that those even have to exist kind of speaks to the core issue there. Zima, heartburn in a bottle. I've never had a Zima. By the time I was aware of what Zima was, they were already a punchline in America and then were quickly discontinued. But for some reason, not only do Zimas exist here still, but they don't know what White Claw is. Like I was talking to the dude, and the guy I was talking to last night, he's a white guy. He's a white guy from Seattle. He's just lived in Japan for the past like 15 years or something. and he didn't know what a White Claw was. He's still like, I had to try to explain it to him, and like he just had no concept of like, the hard seltzer. Is that what it's called? Hard seltzer or hard spritzer or whatever those damn things are. Like he thought it was like a Mike's Hard Lemonade, which I guess kind of, maybe, but you know, it's like, damn dog, y'all have Zima, but you don't know what a White Claw is. It's like you guys are really stuck in the 90s. Like they still use fax machines at a lot of places. Only recently have a lot of Japanese establishments started allowing for credit cards, which honestly, the over reliance on physical currency, paper currency here is what's saving me from overspending so much money. It's saving me from poorly budgeting this trip because again, it helps that the yen is weak to the dollar. But then once I pull out my dollars and that's all I'm using to buy things, like it's interesting to like this is because I was thinking about this last night. Like this is what it must have been like for boomers, for my parents, and even to a degree my older brother. Like you put money in your bank account, but then that's it. You don't really touch it. You put money in your bank account, you don't touch it. You pull money out, and then you just live off of the money you pull out. And the money in your bank account is a reserve that you don't ever really touch unless like an emergency happens. But if things are affordable enough for you, then you can live off of whatever amount of money you pull out, and then just keep putting the rest of your money into your bank account, and you never have to tap into it. But the prevalence of debit cards and shit just means that you're constantly tapping into that money, and whatever you think you're saving, you're probably not, because you're not thinking of how much you're nickel and diming yourself with every transaction, especially since inflation has made everything at the grocery store cost at least $5. So like when I get back to America, I think I am going to try. It's going to be difficult because again, things are very expensive there compared to how far the dollar goes here. I'm going to try to lean back on using paper currency again, if only for the fact that it's helped me budget. It's helped me get my budgeting under control a little bit. Also, they don't have Lyfts or Ubers here. So I was in a taxi for the first time in years. I was in a Japanese cab last night for the first time in years and years and years. So that was interesting. Again, so much of it, like, as much, like, people are used to Japan being, like, the cutting edge. It's the future. It's our cyberpunk future. And some of that is true. I definitely got cyberpunk vibes in a lot of places in Tokyo that I've been to. But so much of Japan does also feel like it's still 20 years ago, if that. Like, the fax machines and dot matrix printers and shit, and, the over reliance on paper currency, you know, Zimas being around, but no White Claws or anything like that. The no lifts or Ubers or anything like that, but, taxi cabs are a thing. There are payphones on the street still. I walked past a payphone and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing payphones on Okinawa when I was a kid." And when I moved back to the States, I saw payphones for a little while. I remember the 1-800 Connect commercials, but somewhere after Y2K, 1-800 Connect disappeared, and so did all the cell phone, or so did all the payphones. And I haven't seen a payphone in America since. But like, there are still payphones out and around here, you know. It's just weird. It's weird. It's the future from the 80s. Japan is the future from the 80s. I don't even know what Zima is. Well, let's just see.
Oh, you're all set for a barbecue. Look what my mom got. You gonna eat that thing? That's brand food, Kevin. What's a classic alcohol beverage with burgers and dogs?
I don't eat meat, you guys.
Cheddar, Gruyere. Get away from my burger. You guys want whale? Oh, you're putting that there. Where's the cheese? Look at that. This burn.
Give me more. Are those free-range burgers?
Who cares? Have a Zima. Don't let that touch my burger, man.
That was how they advertised it. I don't even know, like, what was going on. Why was that guy wearing, like, goggles? Why does this guy have a giant fish? He just walked up to, like, this tiny-ass grill with this big-ass sea bass.
What's a classic alcohol beverage with burgers and dogs?
I don't eat meat.
Like, why is this guy grilling with, like, those glasses on?
Gruyere. Get away from my burger, man. You guys want whale? Oh, you're putting that there.
They still don't even explain to you what a Zima is. They just show you this odd collection of weirdos grilling. Perfect. Perfect.
What are you folks having? What?
You won't cook. No, I don't know.
A beer? Wine cooler? What? You want something different? Something? What? Different. What do you have? Whatever he's having. What? Zima's tasty. It's not too sweet. It's not too sweet. What? So you try it. What? Zima.
Now?
See what I mean? What you're saying?
Nice hand.
There you go. I hope that helped. I hope that helped clarify some things. I hope that helped clarify. I hope that helped clarify some things for you, Taco. Have you tried anything from their vending machines, like the ice cream one? I actually haven't. I mean, I've been drinking. I mean, I've had some water and Pocari Sweat, but I haven't had any like ice cream or anything like that. I should do that when I go out here in a bit. Probably gonna stream for maybe another 15 minutes before I bolt. But maybe when I get out there, I'll get some ice cream out of a vending machine. It's hot enough for one. Yeah, living outside of your bank account can be difficult in today's economy. Yeah, it is. It's pretty tough. Night City with some form of retrofuturism. Yes, retrofuturism is a good way to describe Japan right now. The guy with the bass is 100% Joe. Just walking around with a giant fish. That's funny. Lol, somewhat. Yeah, Zima wasn't really well accepted in America, but I guess apparently, Japan has been all about it since. So it was crazy to see a Zima. It was crazy for me to see a Zima, but then like there's no concept of a White Claw. I had to explain White Claw, and I was like, well, somewhere around circa 2014, maybe 2013, white women all across America started going nuts for this hard spritzer that they could take to Coachella with them. So it was pretty fascinating. Lots of cultural exchange. This hotel gave me these little paper slippers. I'm pretty sure it goes without saying that these don't even come close to fitting my feet. Not even a little bit. What is worse, Japanese heat or Texas heat? They're honestly, I was telling Lauren this too, is they're pretty similar in the way that they feel. Like, it's not a dissimilar climate. The difference, though, is there is a tendency for it to get hotter in Texas, but in Japan, or in Tokyo at least, there's just too many fucking people. And I would go outside, I would start walking to the train station, and I'd be like, oh, it feels nice, it's pleasant. Like, There's a breeze. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's like around 72, 73. It's a great day. And in Texas, a day like that, that would just be the end of it. It would just be a great day. But in Tokyo, as soon as you get to a station, there are so many fucking people in all of that body heat, and you're underground, and like the heat is just being encapsulated there. It gets hot in a fucking instant. And like, there is no commuting anywhere that doesn't end up with you just being covered in sweat. Like, I was sweating instantly. And, you know, you can even tell in my hat. I gotta wash this as soon as I get home. Like, all of that, that's just dried sweat. Like, my hat's been soaked. My hat has been soaked for days just being out there for a little while. It's hotter in Kyoto than in Tokyo. It's warmer here because I guess we're in a valley and that's kind of keeping the heat in. But it's not that dissimilar from Texas. It's just that in Texas you don't walk anywhere. Like if you had to do the level of walking in Austin that you have to do in Kyoto or in Tokyo, you would perish. You would just simply cease to exist. You would die instantly. So that's the big difference. Hello, it is me, and the first Sly Cooper got released got released on the PlayStation 5. Now, some would ask why it's taken nearly half a fucking decade to put one of their biggest series on PS5. There is no satisfactory answer, lol. Yo, what's up, Maniacal Toaster? Welcome back to the stream, and yeah, Sly Cooper was a pretty awesome game on the PS2, from what I recall. I don't know what happened to that franchise, but I guess that's a good question. I guess cool that it's out on PS5 now. I don't have a PS5, nor will I likely ever get a PS5, but I guess that's cool. Sure. Oh, David Allen Crooks has subscribed on YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the sub. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, there's been a lot of game announcements too. I need to get into that at some point. I guess maybe that'll be when I do my return stream back in Austin. I'll talk about all the games that have been announced and the gameplay reveal trailers. I still need to watch the Dragon Age one. I didn't like the reveal, the initial Dragon Age reveal, because it looked like a hero shooter trailer. But apparently the gameplay actually looks pretty fun. Looks pretty good. They were going to make a movie, but the Ratchet and Clank movie bombed so badly that they not only canceled the Sly movie, but their entire planned Sony movie layout. Damn. Okay, well, sucks to suck, I guess. When did that Ratchet and Clank movie come out? I don't even remember. I feel like you talked about that before, but I don't even remember a Ratchet and Clank movie. I'm excited for the new Monster Hunter game. Man, I have a Monster Hunter for my Xbox One, and I've never played it. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I should try playing one of those Monster Hunter games and seeing if I can get into it. At some point, they announced it was going to be a show instead of the R&C movie. Then absolutely nothing for years, so everyone's sure it's been silently canceled. Probably, they'll call it a development hell or production hell or something like that. Yo, Genetic Memory Farms, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Happy birthday, man. Enjoy the food in Japan. It was definitely the highlight when I visited. Be safe. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's another thing is like, I'm telling you, man, and this is, I was going to make this point earlier when I was talking about Lauren's job stuff going on. I was kind of giving her a little bit of a hard time last night because, you know, she's been my tour guide basically, but we've been doing a shit ton of walking, and she doesn't eat that much. So like, we just haven't been eating all that much. We've been walking a bunch and not eating a lot. And I'm like, Lauren, if you can't get your job at Nintendo back, maybe you should consider opening up a fat camp, because it feels like I'm in fat camp right now. Like, we're just constantly marching, and you're like, no food, no food, only walking. And we're gonna walk up these steps for fucking ever. We're gonna walk all around this city twice, and like I have to go to Family Mart and sneak a rice ball, in between meals, because the meals are so few and far between. But a lot of that is just, honestly, it's not her fault. It's my own anxiety. Like, I am here in a second when I head out the door. I'm gonna eat at a restaurant, have to order off a menu that I probably can't read, you know. It's definitely handy to have somebody fluent in the language helping you out for sure. But I guess there is some fun in the adventure of having to experiment, with ordering food off a menu you can't read anyways. But then that's why Google Lens is awesome too. So I don't know where I'm gonna eat at, but I'm gonna eat somewhere here in a second. But yeah, we just haven't been eating. I haven't been eating or drinking all that much. I think that's probably why. She just messaged me not too long ago. She was like, I'm heading back to the hotel to catch some Z's. Like, I think that's a part of why, like, I ended up, inadvertently putting her into a coma today, is because last night I was like, I've been in Japan for however many days and I have yet to have a night of drinking. It's my birthday. I want to drink. Like, I want to drink. I want to drink. It's my birthday. I'm in Japan. I want to drink. So, like, we sat down and we hammered them down. I had, like, 3 beers at the Yakitori place, and then I had some shochu drink. Had about 3 or 4 of those. Like, I barely got a buzz even, but I mean, I'm used to that kind of shit. But she's not used to it, so she's out on her ass right now. Joe would be eating everywhere. I would have to choose tourism spots between the restaurants he has planned. Yeah, like, I want the healthy balance. I want the tourism stuff, but then I also want, like, the food exploration. And right now there is an imbalance, but I'm about to correct that on a solo junket here in a bit. Food adventure. No, no, no. Eat and drink all you can. I want to. That's the plan. I should look up where I'm going to eat at here in a bit. Actually, I love soju. It's pretty good. I liked it too. It was pretty good, which is why I had so much of them. Wish you and Joe could have made your way here. This would have been fun with a big group. Like, it sucks that Japan is such an expensive place to get to, because, like, it really would be the perfect group destination kind of vacation. Like, I would love to get a group of my best friends to come and party in Japan for like a couple of weeks. But it's just prohibitively expensive. I wish I could be there. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I guess 2025. Definitely adjusting to the allergies here. Yeah, and I've been working on, like, I do want to make a vlog over my entire trip, which is why I've been taking so much media. But I've been working on the script for it. I'll probably work on it a little bit more later tonight. But it's been interesting, like, because I didn't know exactly what my plan for that was going to be. But as I sat down and started writing it, it ended up being way more self-reflective than I intended it to be. Um, which makes sense. It makes sense that it would be now that I think about it in retrospect, because this is a place that even outside of my childhood, it's had a huge impact. Japan has had a huge impact on, my almost every essence of my being. So of course I would be reflective uh, in my journeys here, but that's not how I initially started writing it. It just ended up turning out that way. Um, I definitely want to come back. I don't know if that'll be 2025, maybe, but oh, yeah. Lynn, you were also asking about tips for people who would travel here. Another thing, don't buy your tickets on like Expedia or Travelocity or anything like that. Buy your tickets directly from the airline. So like if you can use Expedia and whatnot to determine who has like the cheapest price or what the best route or whatever. Use them to find that information, but once you find that information, go buy the tickets directly from the airlines. Uh, because if you buy it from Expedia or something, they could boot you off your flight, which hopefully, knock on wood, that happened to me on my way here. Hopefully that doesn't happen on the way back. Um, I flew into Narita from Denver. Like, Denver is almost damn near in the center of America as far as like geography is concerned. Compared to where I was flying, like compared to flying out from LA or San Francisco or someplace on the coast, flying out from Denver to Japan is insane to me. And that was a long fucking flight. That was such a long flight. I don't recommend that. Like, that was rough. But you know, spend the extra money on however much leg room you can get, however much comfort in a seat that you can get, and try to make your America to Japan leg as short as possible. If that means a longer flight in your first leg, okay, fine. If that means, a layover, a really long layover somewhere, that sucks, but, a layover will still give you the ability to stretch your legs and walk around and not be confined in a fuselage somewhere. So that would also be some advice I would give. So I found the curry in Japan is not like Indian curry. It is mostly made by Nepalese immigrants. Great stuff. It has kind of become native to Japan, like the burrito pizza are as American hot dogs. I love Japanese curry. Maybe I should find some of that stuff. Maybe I should get some Japanese curry on my way out. But yeah, I love Japanese curry. Although, honestly, and I was telling, because like Lauren and her coworker are both from Seattle, or well, not from. He's from Seattle. She lived in Seattle, and when, and I visited Lauren in Seattle, and we were talking about food and stuff last night, and I think curry came up in some way, and I said to Lauren, I was like, I'll tell you what, Lauren, the best curry I've ever had in my life was the Nepalese curry that we had in Seattle. And she goes, "Oh, that was great." And I was like, "Yeah, I've never stopped thinking about that curry for a second." And she turns to her coworker and says, like, he's talking about Annapurna, and like as soon as she said Annapurna, like his eyes lit up. He was like, "Oh my God, Annapurna is the best. I've never had curry as good as that. That is the best curry on the planet." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "That's why I haven't been able to stop thinking about it for the past 6 years or so." Has it been? Wow, it has been 6 years. It's been 6 years since 2018. Holy shit. But yeah, I was like, yeah, that's why I haven't been able to stop thinking about it for the past 6 years, because it is incredible curry. Nepalese curry is fucking incredible. Find it. Find a Nepalese restaurant near you if there is one. I think one just opened up, not somewhere in Austin. I haven't been to it yet, but I definitely want to go. But yeah, if you can find Nepalese food, find it and get it. All right, it is 2 p.m. I think I'm going to call it for this stream. I'm going to go head out into Kyoto. Um, I really need. I wish Lauren was. I guess tomorrow is gonna end up being a pretty packed day for us because I need her assistance in purchasing the best, purchasing the best eye drops for my buddy. Um, and then also, I haven't had ramen here yet, and she has a ramen recommendation. She wants to take me to her favorite ramen place here, which I think we were supposed to do today, but she's pretty much out of commission, so I guess we'll have to do the ramen thing tomorrow. Good stream, good job. Hey, thanks, Toaster. I appreciate that. I will. Who knows when I'll be back streaming? I don't know. I mean, I might do. Maybe I'll do a desktop stream again tomorrow. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on what happens. Like, I guess what time is it? It's 2 p.m. in the afternoon here, but I guess in Austin it's midnight. So, if I can start my stream at 11 a.m. here, then that's pretty much the normal time that I would be starting my stream in Austin. Um, which is doable because again, I've been going to bed early and I've been waking up early, so yeah, maybe I'll do another stream tomorrow around this time. Um, but if not, then it probably won't be until next Monday or Tuesday. Kyoto is my favorite place in Japan after Hokkaido. Have a great time, be safe and enjoy. Hey, thank you, I appreciate that. Kyoto is my favorite place so far. But again, I've only on the mainland. I've only been, not counting Okinawa, but Okinawa has an asterisk next. Okinawa has an asterisk next to it, so I can't really count that as a part of this trip. But you know, I like Kyoto more than Tokyo at least. All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining me and hanging out. I appreciate it as always. Yeah, it's midnight in yeehaw time. All the midnight cowboys out there. It's Tuesday, though. That's another thing. Okay, so I'm in the future. It's Wednesday here. But last night, we were trying to find a bar to drink at. And, you know, we were following her friend who knew all the places. But every place he took us to was closed. And he was like, well, it's probably just because it's Tuesday. And I was telling him, like, in Austin, Tuesday is one of the heaviest drinking nights. It's like, you can go virtually anywhere in Austin on a Tuesday and, you know, close the place down. And he was flummoxed by it. He was like, really? Tuesday? And I was like, yeah, Tuesday's a big night for drinking in Austin. So, happy to get used to that. There are a lot of, as you know, as retro futuristic as Japan can seem at times, there's also plenty of parts of it where it seems like it's Iowa, you know, where things kind of close at 2 or at 10, or things close at like 9 p.m. or they're not open on random ass days, you know, shit like that. It's interesting. It's an interesting area. It's an interesting dichotomy. But perhaps a discussion for another time. Love you. Have all the fun. Hey, thank you, Lulu. Love you too. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. Get well. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate it as always. I'll be back probably tomorrow, but if not, I'll see you whenever I see you. Take it easy, y'all.